This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters. Good morning. I hope you're ready for your daily dose of radio superbity that you can only receive right here on Real Talk 1160 with yours truly, where the views expressed by me are the views expressed by Bulldog Nation's Supreme Commander, the leader, His Excellency, His Holy Highness. Making TC chuckle on this morning. Well, we got through Monday. I tell you right now, I don't know about you folks. You know, yesterday morning I was in a bad mood. I was in a bad mood all day. Nothing but stressing. In fact, in my blog and newsletter today, it was kind of funny. There was some good stuff in the newspaper about stress and massages. And by golly, you know what? I could use a massage every day. Every day. Men carry their stress in their shoulders and their back. I wonder about these hard-working, blue-collar guys like many of you that never have had a real massage. How tense you must be.
Yeah.
TC, have you ever had like a professional massage?
Yes, I have. And, man, you just want to go to sleep.
Oh, yes, you do.
It's great. You know, yesterday was a weird day for a lot of people. Everybody was either dragging or in a bad mood or a little grumpy. I think it was a time change.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Rick the Brick came in yesterday, and he was walking backwards. His eyes, what happened to you? Good weekend? The whole day, he was just not right.
It's just one of those things. But you know what? The motto of Bulldog Nation is, what do? We adapt.
Yeah.
We improvise. We overcome, right. Just like Marines. In fact, I'll start you out with a good quote from old Ralph Waldo Emerson. You know, when you look at your little kid, and they're laying there as an infant before you name them, how do you look at your little kid and say, let's call him Waldo? How do you do that to a kid? Finish every day and be done with it. That's not a bad advice. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow's a new day. You will begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. How about that? You know, quirk of fate that we have a quote like that. I ended my day on a high note, though. Late last night, I received a phone call from somebody who's involved in my collaboration of promotion in Los Angeles. And, you know, we put together a packet of materials here to send to them. They loved it. They loved it. There is great confidence that they can sell the Bulldog to a bigger stage. So I'm excited about that. Wouldn't it be awesome to do a national radio show right here, buddy? Right here on Real Talk. In 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed a measure prohibiting Union military officers from returning fugitive slaves to their owners, effectively superseding this Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. Man, that's a bad act. Ford Motor Chairman Henry Ford II announced he was stepping down. The same day, a jury found the company not guilty of reckless homicide in the fiery deaths of 3 young women in a Ford Pinto. Remember the Ford Pinto cases? You rear end them, they blow up.
Yeah.
Not good.
No, not at all. They were neat-looking cars, though, at the time.
At the time.
Pinto.
Did you drive a Pinto?
No, I wasn't old enough to drive then.
You know the cars that I thought were the ugliest? Uglier than the Pinto.
That square box?
The Gremlin.
Oh.
Oh, my God. My buddy Dan Summey had a Gremlin. I played a practical joke on it. It didn't turn out very good. I stole his luggage rack at the drive-thru movie theater, and then when we tried to put it back on, the bolts wouldn't line up or something. We had to super glue it back on.
Is that the one that looked like a space pod or something?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah,
that was, yeah.
And then the Pacer, Pacer, the Dasher, the Dart.
My best friend had a Dart. We the Dart. That was our car. That was it.
You know, my first escapades going out on dates with Norm Burbrick, who's now an anesthesiologist, by the way. Good Sam. Isn't that funny? We used to double, triple, and quadruple date in his big old beat-up white station wagon. Pretty incredible. A white station wagon.
That's a chick magnet there, isn't it?
I remember one time we were parked between tanks out at the Fort Thomas Armory. There's a cop comes by. Here, a big old white station wagon. Today they would have thought you were a terrorist.
Yeah, really?
We were just listening to music. That's all we were doing. We were listening to music.
It's after curfew, young man.
After listening to music. You notice that police officers do a pretty good job in discretion. It is kind of nice in it. Nobody ever gets arrested for parking.
No.
You notice that?
They just scare you.
I mean, they just scare the hell. Thank God people don't get arrested for parking.
And when you're 16 years old, you think you're the only person that knows about this little spot back here. Exactly. The cops have been doing this for years.
Exactly.
They know where you are.
Exactly. I have a great story for you, as always. Amerigo Vespucci. You gotta love that name. Amerigo Vespucci was an Italian-born merchant and explorer who took part in early voyages to the New World on behalf of Spain around the late 15th century. By that time, the Vikings had established settlements in present-day North America as early as 1000 A.D., and Christopher Columbus had already discovered several Caribbean and Central American islands. Yet it's Vespucci's name that prevailed. Early accounts of his voyages, now believed to have been forgeries, had quickly spread throughout Europe. In 1507, using these letters as his guide, a German cartographer, that's a map maker, created a new map, naming the territory now known as South America in Vespucci's honor. For the first time, the word America was in print. That's Amerigo Vespucci. That's how we became known as America.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew
that.
It's
a great story.
That is.
Amerigo Vespucci. Little humor for you. A blonde city girl named Amy married just so that you know, blondes, remember, people tell lawyer jokes. So we just want, you can't use the old Polish jokes anymore. That's politically incorrect. So blondes, you get stuck with it because nobody cares about you. It is not politically incorrect to make fun of blondes. The ACLU does not protect blondes. A blonde city girl named Amy married a Colorado rancher. One morning on his way to check on the cows, the rancher said to Amy, "The artificial insemination man is coming over to impregnate our cows today, so I drove a nail into the 2x4 just above where the cow stall is in the barn. Please show him where the cow is when he gets here, okay?" The rancher left from the fields. After a while, the artificial insemination man arrived and knocked on the front door. Amy took him to the barn. They walk along the row of cows. When Amy sees the nail, she tells him, "This is the one right here." The man, assuming he is dealing with an airhead blonde, asks, "Tell me, lady, because I'm dying to know, how would you know that this is the right cow to breed?" "That's simple," she said, "by the nail that's over the stall." Laughing rudely at her, the man said, "And what, pray tell, is the nail for?" The blonde turned to walk away and said sweetly over her shoulder, "I guess it's to hang your pants on." That was a smart blonde. A smart blonde joke. It's the blonde's revenge this morning. The blonde's revenge. This quote here is for all you paranoid guys. Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like takes one to know one. The smeller's the feller.
There's some truth in that. That's a good quote.
Here's some oracles and jackwagons today. Raquel Welch. And you know why she's the oracle today?
Why is that?
Just because.
Good enough.
Just because.
Good enough for me.
She was in the news, so I said Raquel Welch. The most beautiful woman that God ever created on earth. Raquel Welch in her heyday.
Yeah.
Now, you can't improve upon Raquel Welch in her heyday. By the way, just so you know, we got to get the computer guy to work on my computer because it's not working.
Really?
So I can't jackwagon up anybody. We got to pretend.
Sledgehammer.
Oracle status. Michael Vick. I love a comeback. He owed like $20 million. He now owes less than $400,000 on his bankruptcy.
All right.
Michael Vick. And then the jackwagons. Where do you turn? Obama. I got a story coming up about NASA that's going to just going to make you mad. It's going to make you mad. And Eric Holder for his Texas ID voter interference. We're going to get to all of that very soon. In pop culture, we'll go to pop culture in a minute. We'll do pop culture's quick today. American Idol, Jermaine Jones says he made up the story about his dad for sympathy. Said he didn't have a relationship with his dad, and his dad called him out of the blue. Donald Trump's sons are under attack for photos of their big game hunts in Africa. Think about that. They're not photographed with naked women. They don't have a sex tape. They shot some animals at a big game hunt, and they're under attack.
That's weak.
That's weak.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Raquel Welch, I don't know who her plastic surgeon is, but Dr. Kurtzman, you ought to train under him because I'm telling you right now, she looks like she's 40.
Oh, yeah.
She looks like she's 40.
And her legs look like they're 19.
Maybe Dr. Kurtzman did to her. Her face. We come back, more Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160.
Make sure you listen up for Bill O'Reilly's Talking Points coming up at 7:28 this morning here on Real Talk 1160. And now back to the Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters. I'm a dirty white boy, no shower this morning. You know, I like to announce these things to bond with you because I know many of you are unbathed and unwashed, the great unwashed masses. I also got my Bulldog's pajamas on, which I will show to the video camera. These were given to me by an employee of Bulldog's as a Christmas present, and I like them. I wear them often. I wear them as pants. I wear them as pajamas. Bulldog pajamas. In local news, Frisch's is leaving the corral. The Walnut Hill-based Frisch's restaurant said Monday it's agreed to sell substantially. I don't know what the hell that substantially. Are you going to sell it all or not? Make up your mind. 29 Golden Corral restaurants in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia to an Atlanta-based restaurant operator. Now, I want to tell all of you that I know many Bulldog Nation members eat at the Golden Corral. And I understand why, because it is a great grazing place. I've eaten at the Golden Corral a couple times, and I've noticed that, the blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight of those patrons at Golden Corral is probably a little higher than the national average. Maybe by a percentage point or two. But you go in there is so much to eat for not much money. It's an incredible bargain. I don't know how they make any money because the people that eat there eat there. I mean, you could eat one meal at the Golden Corral, eat enough to just keep you hibernating all winter long. Kentucky unemployment dropped to 8.8. How bad is that? It dropped to 8.8. Lakota schools, if you didn't hear the news, sorry about your budget cuts, about $10 million and 141 jobs. See ya. Mike Fox, the former state legislator in Ohio and Butler County Republican chairman, who I was photographed with meeting George Bush out at the airport tarmac when I was the chairman of the Republican Party, has received 4 years. He tried to play the I'm in a wheelchair health card to keep himself out of jail, and it didn't work. Afghanistan, world news. I didn't know people realize this in light of this latest shooting. You know, we had the Quran burning scandal, and then we've had this shooting. I wanted to remind everybody, there are 90,000 troops in Afghanistan. 90. Can you imagine the cost to have 90,000 troops fed, taken care of in Afghanistan? And the cost to their families? 22,000 are scheduled to leave in the fall. Incredible. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? The Afghan GI shooter, the guy who shot those men, women, and children, he's an Army staff sergeant. I think he's 38. I think I read that. He's married, as a father. He surrendered himself. It was also reported that he had previously suffered some type of a brain injury. So clearly this guy was not in his right mind. Sad for everyone. I also wonder what's going to come out about this. I wonder if we are going to learn that he did this in part because he wanted to hell out. He's like, you know what? I want to go home even if it's imprisoned. The Afghans are calling for a local trial. Not good for him. Now, I'm not laughing because it's a serious matter. I'm laughing just at the lack of justice or fairness of the trial that maybe he doesn't deserve. Maybe he doesn't deserve a fair trial. But can you imagine this dude in a courtroom with Afghani jurors?
Why waste the Afghans' money?
Exactly.
Why bother?
Why bother? Just go ahead and execute him.
Really, you got a good point there.
Jury would deliberate 30 seconds. Guilty. Make that 3 seconds. What do you find? I'm finding guilty. I have a lot in sports for obvious reasons. This is a big time. This is the biggest month in sports other than football season. UK opens practice at the KFC Yum Center tomorrow from 4:25 to 5:05. So you can go to Louisville and watch UK practice for 40 minutes at the Yum Center. It's free. Also, of course, they will be playing the winner of the play-in game. The play-in game, Thursday at 6:50. There's a legislative flap down at UK. The Kentucky State Senate moved their schedule around to accommodate Senator David Williams, the Senate leader, to attend the SEC tournament. I love his comment. He said, quote, "Go ahead and write a bad story about me. I don't give a rat's. I'm here more than anybody."
Whoa.
And guess what? That's what they ran. The UC Bearcats, they're getting ready. The Xavier Musketeers are getting ready. Randy Moss signs a one-year deal with the 49ers. If you hate the Cowboys and Redskins, they both got nailed with some cap problems. Dallas is going to lose $10 million on their cap. The Reds lost to the Cubs yesterday 8-6. In the NBA, the Knicks have lost 6 straight. Curveballs. There's a story in the New York Times yesterday that a new study says the curveball doesn't hurt young pitching arms. They did a massive study of 8-year-old kids, and the issue isn't what kind of pitches you're throwing, it's how many pitches you're throwing. Your NCAA brackets. The average fan spends 75 minutes completing a bracket. A man spends 30 minutes more than women. That's why men don't vote for Obama and women do. We spend more time checking things out. Tim Tebow, great article by Jason Gay in the Wall Street Journal. I love his columns, expressing sympathy for Tim Tebow for the Bronco courtship of Peyton Manning. By the way, they are in contract negotiations right now with Peyton Manning. And you know what? He explains why they are. And let's face it, the Bronco fans, as much as they love Tebow, they're not going to give John Elway a hard time for bringing Peyton Manning to the team.
Right.
And let's face it, this team beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in a playoff game with Tim Tebow.
Right.
That defense, that team with Peyton Manning, like their chances.
And look what it could do for Tebow. I mean, at some point, Peyton's not a young guy anymore, and they'll say, hey, why don't you stick around and help this guy? He could learn a lot from that guy.
Right.
Tebow could learn a lot from Manning.
Tebow is not a high-priced player, so you never know. Maybe he would stay there as his backup.
And that'd make Peyton Manning look like a hero.
Yes.
You know? He graciously steps down. He teaches the young quarterback, trains him.
This Bronco thing must be pretty serious because he met with the Miami Dolphins in Indy and not Miami yesterday. Now, of course, he already knows about Miami. He's already been there. My guess is Peyton Manning didn't know a lot about what was going on at the Denver. Now, I have some fun stuff for you about the NCAA. This is the Bulldog NCAA special. All right? NCAA championships. You know who has the most? UCLA of the 11. That was back in the day when they had back-to-back Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then Bill Walton. UK's second was 7. Indiana has 5. North Carolina 5. Duke 4. NCAA Final Fours. North Carolina has the most at 18. UCLA at 17. Duke at 15, Kentucky at 14, Kansas 13. NCAA Final Four wins. UCLA 25, that's a shocker. Kentucky second with 17. NCAA tournament appearances. Kentucky's number 1 with 51, 9 ahead of North Carolina. NCAA tourney games. Kentucky's the most with 151 over North Carolina. Tourney wins. They're tied with North Carolina 105. We come back, some more fun facts for you as we listen to Bruce. Put on those summer clothes, girls, on Real Talk 1116. Cowboy, baby. Is there any better feeling, folks? Those of you that have never experienced this feeling, find a friend that can share. Here's the feeling. Sunny day. Daytime or nighttime, convertible, top down, good cruising music on. I would suggest, let me see, either Cowboy by Kid Rock, Sniffin' Tears, that great song that they have, Driver's Seat, or the best cruising song of all time. GC, could you do me a favor? No, I don't want that Brooks and Dunn version of that. No. It's B.W. Stevenson's version.
Oh, you want the
B.W. Stevenson's version. But could you find Ace Frehley back in the New York groove for me for a minute?
We had that at one time.
Yes, we did. And the reason being is it is the all-time cruise song. But here's the deal, folks. The Kid Rock was just describing. There is no feeling like cruising in a convertible, looking good, feeling good, to this song. It's the best cruise song of all time. Right here, folks. This is the all-time best cruise song of all time. I'm going to do that. Maybe tomorrow. Top 5 cruise songs of all time. But this will be at the top. This is the perfect beat for cruising, isn't it, TC? And it's New York City, too. I'd like to cruise New York City, Manhattan. Or about South Beach in Miami. Or McDonald's, Dream Street, Florence, 1981. That was my thrill. Just to try to catch a glimpse of my now wife in her little cheerleading outfit. True story. We drive around the circles at McDonald's. Here we go. We do it all here. Shakespeare, best cruise songs, history.
I don't understand something.
Yes.
I'm looking at this video here, and the whole band, the whole Kiss band is on stage playing. But it's Ace Frehley's song?
It is Ace Frehley's song. It was a single he put out.
And you just had the rest of the guys back him up?
Well, they've incorporated it into their playlist now.
Oh, I see.
But when they broke up, he did this as a single.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Was that back when we still had albums? You
Yes.
had like 4
albums, right?
So 4 albums with
Yes.
each different Kiss.
Yes. Each guy. Well, this was it. He says, "Get the hell out of here." Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, Gene Simmons. They broke up for a little while. Then they realized the sum of the parts was greater than each individual, like we are here.
Yes.
The sum of us together
I tell you,
is greater than just one of us alone. I would be nothing without you, and you would suck as a producer without me.
Exactly. That's the way it worked. Do you remember when we were wee little kids, there was the Columbia Record and Tape Club?
Yes!
And TV
Yes!
Guide, you could get 13 albums.
Yes! Yes!
I ordered 13. One of them was a Kiss album. And it had, it was Detroit Rock City.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Detroit Rock City.
That's when I discovered how cool my bedroom was because it had a record player.
You know what's so funny, TC? We're going to sound like our parents here. Of course, my parents weren't into rock music. But our kids are so naive. They think we're stupid.
Yeah.
They have no idea that anything that comes about now, there was something back in our day that was a precursor to it.
More of this.
Like for example, this song. Ace Frehley, this band. I mean, look at these guys.
Yeah.
These guys were, hey, Lady Gaga, guess what? You ain't got nothing on Kiss.
Kiss did it.
Kiss did it.
Been there, done that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Madonna. Even, 80s, 90s was before Lady Gaga.
Right.
All she is a farther out Madonna.
Right.
But the Ace and Gene and the boys, baby. You know, the biggest Kiss fan that I knew was Bob Behan, who, the Behan family, their dad was an FBI agent.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool. It's like, man, your dad's an FBI agent. I always thought, man, that's pretty cool. He carries the guns around and shoots people. But anyway, by the way, Bill Behan used to take my money from me. This is funny. We had joke. He actually called in the radio show one day.
Did he?
Yeah, he was like a bully.
Oh.
But I let him get away with it. He was like, Deters, give me your lunch money. Here, Bill. It's hard to believe that the Bulldog was once bully. But anyway, Bob, he was a huge Kiss fan. And by the way, a great diver, by the way. The scariest I've ever been watching some feat, I don't want my kids to do this, Bob Behan would run off Alan Smith's house roof up on Panorama Drive in Kenton Hills and do a flip into Alan's pool from the rooftop. And I remember going, and he'd make it like by a foot. I was like, holy cow. Bob, I hope you're listening. I'm bragging about your stunts. He car cruised on Mall Road. He got outside the car and was on top of the car while we were driving down Mall Road. I'm like, holy cow.
Kids, please don't try this at home.
Bob had kahoonies. He was also like a man about town.
To still have them.
Like when he was 16, like he wasn't afraid to ask any girl out. We were kind of like nervous about asking. Bob, he'd ask anybody out. He always had the good-looking girl.
Yeah.
I think he probably still does.
Hate those guys.
Whatever he's doing. Yeah, we do hate those guys. Ricky and Burlington, you're on Real Talk 1160. Say something witty or wise, not plain and stupid.
not plain and stupid. Well, unfortunately, I haven't Whittier wise just yet, other than how terrible Kentucky looked in New Orleans. Did they look just as bad on TV back here?
Yeah. You went. Yeah, that's right. You were down at the game. I want to tell you something. It seemed like everything was just hard. Nothing was smooth. And I can tell you this, LSU was like a bubble team for the NIT. I mean, they just struggled. And what worried, I'm kind of split about this. Number one, I didn't know the Final Four was down in New Orleans, so they get to go down there and they say, well, we've been here before, so they're comfortable. Or two, it's like, man, we played like crap here.
Well, at least they move it from the actual arena to the Superdome, so maybe they'll like that place better.
Oh, they're not going to be playing. They'll be playing in the Superdome. All right, good.
Yeah, I recommend to anybody to go to New Orleans because that was the best time of my life.
You know what? My wife and I went down a couple years for a weekend, and we didn't care for it. I mean, I went down Bourbon Street, and I'm like, this is Bourbon Street? I mean, it kind of smelled like rotten beer and. You know, all the disgusting things didn't do anything for me. I mean, I'm serious. Now, let me tell you what. I love New Orleans history. I love the restaurants. I love the shopping. I loved all of that. But people talk about, like, Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street did nothing for me. Everything else about New Orleans, I liked.
You need to go for the SEC tournament then because it's nothing but blue, and it's the best fight I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, Ricky, one of the best lines from the announcers on the basketball game was great. He was talking about there was so many UK fans down in New Orleans. He said he ordered a pizza to his hotel room. And I don't know if he was joking or he was telling the truth. He said, 2 UK fans delivered the pizza. And I told my wife, I said, maybe they were working for some money or something. But is that hilarious? There were so many UK fans. They delivered the pizza to his hotel.
They would have taken a slice or two, you know.
Well, Ricky, thanks for the full report. And I hope to get down there sometime. Although my wife and I are on the same page with this, I admire you guys that travel with the UK team and the Bearcats and the Xavier Musketeers. But, man, you know why I don't like doing it? What if they lose? Man, that's got to be the longest trip back. If they win, it's like, oh, gosh, yeah, we won. When they lose, it's like, oh, you got to get home.
Yeah, but at least you can say I was there.
You was there.
I was there.
Here's some more fun NCAA statistics. Kentucky's hot. These are the 5 hottest teams right now. 24 of his last 25. North Carolina, 9 of his last 10. Memphis, 11 out of his last 12. St. Louis, 9 out of his last 11. Michigan, 7 out of the last 9. 5 teams that are not hot. Southern Mississippi, Florida, Notre Dame, Temple, Marquette. Hey, by the way, Xavier, Notre Dame has lost 3 of its last 5. The 5 best defensive teams, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Virginia. Kentucky is 6th. Now, you know what I find interesting about this, folks? Big Ten, brag. 3 of the top 5 teams of defense are Big Ten teams. UK 6. And then we get to the offense. Kentucky's number 2. Behind Missouri, Florida's 3rd, Indiana's 4th, Creighton's 5th. 5 coaches who have been in the Final Four but have never won it all. Thad Matta, Bob Huggins, John Calipari, Tom Crean, John Thompson. By the numbers, you're going to find this interesting, TC. The last 13 tournaments, only one, overall number 1 has won.
Really?
Duke in 2001.
Wow.
Sorry, UK fans. However, UK fans can take hope in this. 11 of the last 13 winners were in the top 5 in scoring margin, and UK is. No team ranked lower than 3 has won the last 13 years. So, guys, do not pick a team that is ranked lower than a 3 to win it all. 2 or fewer number 1 seeds have reached the Final Four in 11 of the last 13 tournaments. I can tell you right now, folks, you'll see 2 number 1 seeds. You will not see 3 in the number 4. In the Final Four. No number 13 seeds go far. Don't pick a number 13 seed. Number 12, at least 1 has made it to the round of 32, 11 of the last 13 tournaments. Same with number 11 seeds. Now this is interesting. Duke and UNC, and they always get the best draws. Put them in the Sweet 16, write it down and circle it. Since 1998, they're 26-0 when playing their first 2 games in North Carolina. In 13 years, UK has never got to play in Kentucky in the opening 2 rounds like North Carolina has. Wow. This year, they finally have made North Carolina go to the Midwest and UK in the South in Atlanta. Finally, we get to play in Kentucky at the Yum Center. We come back. Some legal news, and we're going to get to politics. Big race today. Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160.
You're like Eric the Greek over there.
Yes, I am. Eric the Greek.
Real Talk 1160 has UC Baseball. Steve Jarnicki will have the game starting this Sunday, 12:30 pregame, and the first pitch at 1 o'clock here at Real Talk 1160. And now, back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. Got a few legal items for you. Everybody remember Whitey Bulger? He was that Boston mobster that The Departed was loosely based upon. Well, his girlfriend, Catherine Krieg, the companion, is expected to plead guilty to charges that she helped him evade capture for 16 years. The relatives of the murder victims met with Carmen Ortiz on Monday. She's going to plead guilty to conspiracy to harbor a fugitive, as well as one charge of credit card fraud. She's expected to receive about 32 months in prison, and she's not going to be forced to testify against old Whitey. But my guess is she probably has provided some information for Whitey.
Yeah.
Whitey's going down.
And she's going to be the rat.
She's going to be the rat.
Or that'd be the rat-S.
The rat-S, that's right. She's a rat-S. A cop, did you hear about this? A police officer tased a 9-year-old twice.
What?
I haven't yet seen what the 9-year-old did, whether he jaywalked, threw gum down on the sidewalk, or what, but was tased twice. My prediction, the jury will find for the police officer.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, man.
That'd be sad.
I'm telling you. Jurors, I don't understand it, but jurors, doctors and cops get all the breaks. Now, lawyers, on the other hand, they throw the book at it.
Too bad you're not licensed to serve in Minnesota.
Why is that?
There's a great case. I think a 5th grader is suing her school. She posted something on Facebook, and they gave her detention for it.
Good golly.
The ACLU's getting involved in it. Big deal. I think she said something like she didn't like one of the hall monitors or something. and they gave her detention for it.
That is incredible.
She posted on her Facebook.
I have some fun on my newsletter and blog, a little bit of science, some studies about stress and massages. Check it out. I'm not going to get into it today. It's not worthy of the radio, but it's worthy of the blog and newsletter. It's not superb enough. You know, it's not like witty and wise. It's not funny, entertaining, and inspiration.
To talk about
stress and but it's good information, but it's not good enough for radio. Now I'll tell you what is good enough for radio. Today's political action. The delegate tally, Romney's at 454. That's more than Santorum, Newton, Paul all put together. Today they're going to vote in Alabama, Mississippi, and the American Samoa. Latest CBS New York Times poll, 47% is what Obama's job disapproval rating is. Gas prices, 68% disapprove of Obama's handling of gas prices. And I can tell you right now, you know the South is a little different. It's a little different than the rest of the country. Obama's got a Southern problem. You know why? The latest polls in Alabama and Mississippi indicate that a lot of voters consider him a Muslim.
Do they really?
Yeah. Don't we consider him a Muslim?
Well, I
consider him a Muslim-leaning. I don't think he's a Muslim. I think he's a Muslim-leaning. But anyway...
he's trying to be everything to all people.
Let's face it. Barack Obama is a big city. You know, when he went down to the Gulf of Mexico, to the BP crisis, and he went down there a couple of times, he just seems uncomfortable to me in the South. He's a Chicago guy. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of Chicago guys can go anywhere. I mean, I'm a farm boy. I feel comfortable in Manhattan. I mean, I'm just telling you. I feel like I'm comfortable anywhere. But some people just aren't. Barack Obama seems very uncomfortable away from, even out west he feels uncomfortable. I'll tell you where he looks comfortable. The big cities, the Northeast and California. Any place else, I mean, I just see Barack, he just doesn't seem, it's like, come on, farmers? Come on. Barack Obama, like, campaigning in a cornfield in Iowa.
Well,
give me a break.
Places where he has to go, where he has to really earn, your vote.
Right.
He's going to be more uncomfortable when he's amongst, like-minded Democrats. Yeah, he feels comfortable, but.
And to be an equally, opportunities, analysis here, Mitt Romney's the same way. Mitt Romney is going to feel more comfortable in the big cities, Northeast. He seems uncomfortable. He puts on the jeans and goes out there. But come on, he's a couple $100 million man, to go out there. Now, some people can't, like Bruton Smith, the rich NASCAR guy that owns Kentucky Speedway. He's a NASCAR guy, so he can down there and mingle with the masses. He's a good old boy.
I can see Mitt Romney before he ate the cheesy grits. I can see him talking to his aides. Do I really have to eat this?
You know, one of the people, the type of individual that I admire most are people who are filthy rich and successful and still have the common touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I admire Castellini. Castellini, who owns the Reds. You know, he's a good old Italian-Irish acting kind of guy.
Is he?
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, he comes off that way. I mean, my dad's an example of that. You know, my dad, you wouldn't think he had two nickels to rub together if you met my dad, just the way he is. R.C. Durr, who was a pretty big Northern Kentucky political and business philanthropist, was the same way. You know, I miss old R.C. But, you know, there's nothing, I don't know, because it's kind of like they've achieved, but it hasn't gone to their head, if you know what I mean. All right, the latest of, we got a caller. Who's that? Glenn from Mason. Nah. Or should I? Should I take Glenn? All right, DC is going to make the call. We're going to take Glenn's call. Welcome to Real Talk 1160, Glenn.
What's going on, Eric?
Well, I'm just spitting out radio superbity.
Well, let me tell you something. You talked about Barack's Southern problem. He doesn't have a Southern problem. Those people are idiots. Have you saw the latest poll saying that 51% think he's a Muslim? I mean, how stupid do you have to be to honestly believe that in 2012?
So you are calling Mississippians and Alabamians idiots?
Just the 51% that think he's a Muslim. You know, the 49%, they're probably everyday people like you and I and TC. But those 51%, those are what do you call them? Jesus, what do you call jackwagons of America? I mean, really, how do I explain to my children that there are this many stupid people in America? How do you explain it to your kids?
I defend Alabamians and Mississippians.
No, how do you explain the birthers? I mean, I'm reading a story right now about some idiot in Florida.
My children aren't paying attention, so I don't have to explain it to them.
Well, I definitely make sure my children pay attention because it's a dangerous world out there. When you have idiots,
I stand on the wall.
Rebellions up in Washington. I mean, I think I should get my children ready for these type of people.
I stand on the wall as the guardian for my entire family. I let them deal with what they deal with. I am my family's guardian on that wall.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you went to Alabama and Mississippi, what would you tell those 51% of birthers that are just flat out stupid?
I wouldn't call them stupid. I would say I understand how you feel. There's a lot of suspicion around this president.
So you don't think the president was actually born in Hawaii and that is...
No, I think he's born in Hawaii.
Are you? Oh, okay.
I've become convinced he's born in Hawaii.
Okay, so why would you coddle those people? Because it makes for good politics?
No, I'm not going to coddle them. I'm just going to feel sympathetic to them.
Well, how do you feel sympathetic for people that are just flat out uneducated and stupid?
Well, because it's like this.
Why would you bolster stupidity, I guess would be my question.
Well, here's the reality of it for me, Glenn. Mm-hmm. I just have a common bond with them that this president troubles me on many levels.
So you have a common bond with uneducated people because...
Yes, I do. Because some of Bulldog Nation members are uneducated, but they are smart enough to follow my lead.
So you have people in Bulldog Nation that are actually birthers?
I have people. Bulldog Nation's a big tent, Glenn. It's a big tent.
So unlike conservatives in the GOP, Bulldog Nation is actually a big tent, and Bulldog Nation has more diversity than the GOP as a whole. It looks like the lineup at your average right-wing radio station.
Yes, the Bulldog Nation is much more diverse than your right-wing nation. We have Jim from White Oak on the line. Jim, hang on after the news, and you'll give us some radio superbity. Glenn from Mason has returned to our airwaves. 513-579-1160. I was kind.
You were.
I was kind.
I was impressed.
I was kind.
Very impressive.
On Real Talk 1160. We are returning to the daily short video blog, and I'm going to make them issue-oriented and life-oriented. I gave a long rant on Friday about how wonderful the NCAA tournament is because it's winner takes all. There's no coddling. There's no trophies for second place. There's no blue ribbons for finishing fifth. The bottom line is what's great about the drama of the NCAA tournament is it's winner takes all. And it embodies the American spirit of striving. And you know what? If something isn't worth striving for, it's not worth having. So I was making fun of Barack Obama, as I usually do on the radio show, that if Barack Obama was in charge of the NCAA tournament, he would let the teams that weren't as good play with 6 players. He would have good players, put one hand behind their back. Like if it was a boxing match and one boxer was better than the other boxer would have to box with one arm. He would have this social equality about the NCAA tournament, wouldn't he? The bottom line is it's a noble cause to strive for greatness. And there's glory even in defeat. Look at the glory that the Kentucky Wildcats, when they lost to Duke in overtime on that Christian Laettner basket, it was tragic, but it's still part of the story. Glory, even in tragic defeat. It goes all the way back to the great Greek tragedies. It is noble to strive. Sometimes we come up short, but that's the way life is. Barack Obama, based upon his social policies, he would want the NCAA tournament to everybody be on equal footing. There'd be no seeds. It would be everybody's kumbaya, and there would be no drama. Thank God Barack Obama does not control the NCAA tournament. Good luck to your team. Every dog has their day. I hope your team does too, unless they're playing Kentucky. Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. I have a song, sometimes you can say something in a song that you can't say otherwise, and this is for Glenn from Mason. The Bulldog Nation stands with Alabamians. We stand with Mississippians and Georgians. We love the South the same way we love the Midwest farmer. We do not condone racism. We do not condone bigotry. We do condone anti-abomination.
My name is Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump.
Wherever we can find anti-Obama people, we stand with them.
Every time I hear this song now, I just picture Forrest Gump dancing in his living room.
Yep. Thank you for that. Jim in White Oak, say something witty or wise, as I know you will.
Well, I hope so. But listen, I don't know if this is worthy of Bulldog Nation, but I want to challenge Glenn to perhaps a debate, 1 minute to 1 minute, and then 30-second refutation on Obama's birth certificate with the Bulldog himself as the judge. Now,
I would love to be the moderator of that debate. I've challenged Glenn to a debate, but he's never accepted.
And I'm just talking 1 minute to 1 minute, then 30 seconds. He can go last. In fact, you can give him 2 minutes to refute my 30 seconds, because here's the thing: we're not talking about personalities. And I admire Glenn in the sense that he stands up for what he believes in, and not enough Americans will do that. But on this birth certificate, if we're talking courtroom evidence, we're not talking about what, quote, everybody accepts, because everybody doesn't accept it. Sheriff Arpaio of Arizona just came out and laid out the problem. Here's the problem. The first birth certificate, quote unquote, that was put out, now we're just talking evidence now of what was put on the record. Snopes and Fact Check came out and said early on in Obama's occupancy of the White House that it was done, it was settled. And I had a guy by the name of Gary Jeff, and his last name rhymes with Talker, spend 1/2 hour trying to refute what I said in 2 minutes on another station. He took a half hour.
Imaginary friends.
He took a half hour to try to use Snopes and Fact Check to refute what I said. Then about 3 months later, Obama came out. You remember this. He came out and said, well, now, here's the real birth certificate. And he said, well, I know some people are going to accept this. And that was proven within 24 hours, and this was in Sheriff Arpaio's press conference the other day with Jerome Corsi and others present, that was photoshopped on 9 levels. Okay, photoshopped on 9 levels. And a birth certificate from 1961 would not have to be photoshopped at all. Now, one last thing, Bulldog, on this. I had 2 kids who had to travel abroad in the last year, 2 of my kids. I went down to City Hall in Cincinnati, paid $29, ran a few errands, and came back and got their birth certificate. Obama and the Democratic Party have spent almost $2 million trying to prevent a court from forcing him to produce his birth certificate in court under oath. on the evidence, Obama has not produced anything that would stand up in court as a birth certificate. So now Glenn even knows most of my arguments, and I'd like to know what his are. His and all the people saying we shouldn't investigate it. And I don't know what the final truth is, Bulldog, but shouldn't investigate it? I mean, if his side seems to be, well, everybody knows he has one. No, in a court that doesn't hold up. So anyway, that's my comment on that.
Well, thank you, Jim. If this would have went to trial, if this would have went to court, both sides could introduce expert testimony as to the authenticity of it. Bottom line, I want to move on to a couple issues that relate to Barack Obama. And, there's always something going on. This is from the Enquirer this morning from the AP. A photo ID requirement for voters in Texas could disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of registered Hispanics, the Justice Department said Monday in its latest move against Republican-led voting changes in many states that have drawn protests from minorities, poor people, and students. The justice objection means that now a federal court in Washington will decide whether Texas, as well as South Carolina, will be allowed to enforce its new voter photo ID requirements. The department's move merely blocked a Texas law until the court rules. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, you need your driver's license to show your identity when you go to a courthouse, when you pay certain fines. I mean, just think about all the time that you have to pull out your driver's license photo ID. Now, I got to ask you this question. I think what they're saying is well, listen, some of these Hispanics that are registered to vote don't have a driver's license. Well, guess what, folks? My understanding of the law is, in Kentucky and any place else, you have to have a valid photo ID. It doesn't necessarily have to be a driver's license. So you mean to tell me that we're not going to require some type of proper identification before somebody votes? That's incredible. It is incredible. So if you are registered to vote in Texas and you do not have a driver's license, well, then you've got to show up with something else or you're not going to get to vote. Is it not better? This is just my opinion, folks. Is it not better to keep a few valid voters away than to have widespread voter fraud? It's like, hey, put up or shut up. You want to vote? You got to be able to prove you are who you are. Makes sense to me, doesn't it? Does it make sense to you? 513-579-1160. Also along the same lines as some of the jackwagonness that comes out of this administration, and this is from the Wall Street Journal yesterday. NASA is drafting backup plans to prolong the use of Russian spacecraft for ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station. Charles Bolden, head of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, told the House Science Committee last week that the space agency was taking early steps to line up additional Russian spacecraft. They think they're going to need this through 2017. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, we have a president who has basically required us to hitchhike rides from Russia, the same country who blocks anything that we want to do with the UN Security Council as it relates to Syria or Iran. They're not our friends, but we're stuck with begging Russia for a ride to the International Space Station. Remember, folks, this is the same agency director who came out and said that Barack Obama asked him to reach out to the Arab nations as it relates to NASA because they invented algebra. Let's not forget this. And you wonder why, Glenn, that there's a lot of people that think Barack Obama is a Muslim. I don't think he's a practicing Muslim. I think he has Muslim-leaning tendencies, or however else you want to put it. Come on, why should NASA reach out to Arab nations? What? It's our space agency. What the hell does the Arab nations have to do with NASA? And this is what he was said that Barack Obama told him to do. I tell you, Remember what I said yesterday about this administration? It's like every day they know that there's something new that's going to come along that's going to distract the American people from the dumbass thing they did the day before. Like too fast, too furious, immigration policy. It's incredible. So in yesterday's news, we have to hear about NASA needing to hitchhike rides from Russia, and we hear about Eric Holder wanting to, first he's concerned about, the New York Police Department is watching Islamic Muslim people in New York City for their security. And he's going to look into that. Well, now he wants to block Texas from protecting their franchise integrity. It is incredible. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. By the way, speaking of polling, who pays for all these polls? Why do they do these polls? Who cares about these polls? I mean, head-to-head, are you kidding me? They care less. The polling industry has made itself a self-fulfilling, unnecessary, but necessary political mainstay. Big waste of money. While the media outlets are doing their polling, every campaign has their own internal polling. Some polling's necessary, folks, to run a campaign, but it is ridiculous. Both inside and outside. Every day we got a new poll. This is what's going to happen if Barack Obama runs head-to-head against Rick Santorum. Who cares? Santorum is probably not even going to be the nominee. Head-to-head polling. This is what the polling shows with Ron Paul versus Barack Obama. Who cares? Isn't it amazing, TC, the polling data we get? Who cares? They are polling every day on things that make no rational sense. And they just keep doing it. And it's like, well, every campaign needs a top pollster. These pollsters are making millions of dollars. Big waste of money. We ought to send them around Dead Man's Curve. Just teasing. A little harsh there. Dead Man's Curve. I added this song to my iPhone on Real Talk 1160.
And remember, Real Talk 1160 is on Facebook. You can keep tabs on your favorite talk show hosts and even listen to live streaming here on Real Talk 1160. Log on to Facebook.com/Real Talk 1160 and join in. And now, back to the Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Real Talk 1160. I believe in the those that are saying, we don't need a president or a president nominee who can, quote-unquote, relate to the common man. We need somebody who's extra special. Well, you know what I prefer? I prefer both. I prefer somebody who's extremely successful, but at the same time can understand, what's going on. For example, you can like him or dislike him all you want. Bill Clinton had the knack, for saying, hey, he can understand, he can feel our pain, so to speak. Now, this was scary, folks. Guess what I got in the mail? In fact, I thought this was junk mail, but my wife says it is not junk mail. I got my son's Selective Service registration. I'm like, ooh, my goodness. Can I be candid with you? Can I be candid? I got to be candid with you. I support the American soldier, no doubt. But I do not support the draft. I like the idea of a volunteer army. We have plenty of volunteers that are volunteering. And I have to admit, the thought of my son being forced to serve in a war zone that I do not think we should be in, that would suck. I mean, it really would. I'm just being candid with you. I'd be honored that he served the country. If my son came to me and I would support him, I said, absolutely. But at the same time, it would suck that if he was forced to serve somewhere, you didn't want him to, to be. Dan and Piner, you're on Real Talk 1160. I understand you want to promote a fish fry for the tornado victims. We would be honored to have you do that. So promote away.
Hey, Bulldog, we had considered canceling this thing, and we changed our mind because we thought it'd be a good thing to continue on. So we're going to have us a fish fry on Friday from 5 to 8. And hopefully we'll get some community out there, and we're going to have a donation can out there to help some tornado victims.
Where do you think, where do you think, where is this fish fry going to be? At what day and time?
It is on Friday, this Friday, from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Pioneer Firehouse.
Sounds great. You know what? Fire departments have great fish fries. I remember going to the one every year that the Independence Fire Department used to have. It was great fish.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's great. Will you shoot me an email, Dan, at eric@ericdeters.com, and I will promote it every day the rest of this week on my newsletter and on the radio station.
I will do that.
All right. God bless you, Dan, and keep up the great work. I tell you right now, the Pioneer, Morning View, Southern Kenton County community has really come together, worked hard to take care of their own. Proud of all of them. Also, speaking of fish fries, my wife and I went to the All Saints Walton Fish Fry on Friday, and you can do a drive up, or you can go in. They said they would serve over 280 people through the drive up, not even the sit down. I've never seen so many cars. It was incredible. I love fish fries. Fish fries are all over the place. It's a tradition in the community during Lent in the tri-state. One's just as good as the other.
I like it for the social activity, but I don't eat the fish.
You don't eat the fish?
I can't. I have terrible allergy to seafood.
I have a terrible allergy to shellfish, but I can eat a fish sandwich with good tartar sauce. The All Saints fish fry, they had a good cod.
Yeah.
And, man, it was good. It just doesn't taste fishy. It tastes good. Economics. I have some interesting news on the economic front. Yahoo and Facebook. There's a legal battle. Yahoo is suing Facebook over some patents. This is really interesting because, as many of you know, once Facebook collects all their money from their IPO, there are some thoughts that they might actually buy Twitter.
Really?
Kind of really corner the market.
Yeah.
Really corner the market.
You think the government will allow that?
Who knows? Barack Obama, it depends on how many people from Twitter and Facebook have contributed to Barack Obama's campaign.
Yeah, well, the FTC's got to have a say in that, don't they?
Absolutely. Is it a monopoly? Scotch. There's an increase in demand for the drink Scotch. My Uncle Jerry drinks Scotch on the rocks. They say you got to be a real man to drink Scotch on the rocks. But there's apparently an increase in demand. Maybe that shows the separation between the rich and poor and the ending of the middle class as more people are drinking Scotch. Do you think your average Joe is drinking Scotch? Probably not. They're probably drinking a Bud Light.
Yeah.
Coke and Pepsi.
Or green water.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi are changing the way they make the caramel coloring in their sodas because California law has mandated that their drinks need to contain a warning that a certain level of carcinogens come from that coloring.
What?
And apparently there was one test that said that it could cause a single study that lab mice and rats, based upon this coloring, got cancer. Who knows? California, baby.
I don't know. Well, we just won't sell Coke and Pepsi to California.
Yes, you can drink water.
We have warning labels on green water.
From the Courier-Journal, Starbucks said last Thursday, that it's going to soon sell a single-cup coffee machine that lets people brew lattes and other coffee drinks at their homes. How do you like that? And TC, finally on the economic front, do you know how bad it is?
How bad is it, Bulldog?
There is a big theft increase in detergent. People are stealing detergent. God, that's sad.
Like out of the grocery store?
Yeah. The economy's improving, TC. The economy is improving. Don't you know the economy's improving?
Well, I heard in Alaska that the Eskimos are washing their clothes in Tide. It's just too cold out, Tide.
And how about this, folks? Some thieves kidnapped a dog and asked for a ransom. Now, how special does it? Now, with all due respect, now, ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, those animal lovers out there, you're going to think that I'm callous, and I apologize. But if somebody were to kidnap Trace, Puppy, or Whiskey and demand ransom, I would say there will be no ransom. Scooby-Doo. I wonder if Scooby-Doo was ever kidnapped and held for ransom.
I don't know. That's a mystery.
I mean, can you imagine kidnapping a dog? Give us money or we're going to kill your dog.
Well,
we're going to kill Fido. I guess
how much did they want for the dog? I mean, how much were they asking? Like millions or a couple hundred?
I don't know what the asking price was. $100. Give us $100, man. We'll give you your dog back.
I mean, you can kind of narrow it down. You figure if they're asking for $1 million, it might be some big people. But if they want like $50, that's probably a heroin addict or something. So like a meth problem.
It's like somebody that has like, something really, really valuable, and they take it to the pawn shop, and they say, "Can you give me $1,000?" No, we'll give you $50. Okay.
I'll take it.
Pretty bad negotiators. Yeah, it's sad to laugh about it. Can you imagine some of the negotiations that have been going on? People taking engagement rings, wedding rings, diamond rings, family heirlooms to pawn shops. The pawn shop's been in fact, we were behind the curve. We should have got ahead of the curve. During the tough economic times in 2008, I should have opened a chain of Bulldog's pawn shops. Bulldog's pawn shops. Bulldog Nation can come in, and we will give you top rate for your gold, silver, and other valuable items that you need to pay your utility bill.
You remember that movie Trading Places with, was it Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy?
Yes, love that movie.
When he became poor and he tried to pawn his watch, he goes, and it was Bo Diddley goes, "I'll give you $50." He goes, "This watch will tell time, the accurate time in Stalingrad, London, England, and is accurate to 4 atmospheres. In Philadelphia, it's worth $50."
And so it is.
I'll take it.
We come back, more Radio Superbity until Laura Ingram's Radio Addiction at 9:05 on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. The Godfather from Aurora, Bob himself. Green water. Vanna White says, "I love to drink green water for an energy boost after turning all those big letters. Spell some green water out for yourself, too. GRENWADAR. I love it."
We got to put this guy in the payroll.
Bob from Aurora also said, "Green water. Shove a bottle of green water up
Ooh.
Glenn today."
Well, gee.
He does not. You know what? Glenn's actually good for the radio show.
Yeah.
Because every time Glenn calls, Glenn, you call all you want, buddy. Every time Glenn calls, everybody gets worked up.
Yeah. That's a good look how many calls we took today.
Five. You never judge a show by the calls, but he always stirs them up.
Yeah, he does.
513-579-1160 if you want to say something winter-wise.
Hey, I got something I want to get out of the way here.
Go ahead.
It's been in the closet for a long time here, so let's get this. Well, tell me, what do you think about this new 36-hour energy drink?
Well, a friend of mine works at the Green Water Company, and at Green Water they say,
"When Green Water talks, people listen." Available at QuinKick. I made that up. I made that up myself. I don't think anyone's ever heard that before.
Well, you know what? Listen, that was a good. Nobody's ever. I've never heard any television commercial that would emulate that pause action.
No financial planning institution.
EF Hutton isn't around anymore. They're gone. They're merged up. No more EF Hutton.
Well, we're too big to fail, aren't we?
Too big to fail. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, I enjoyed my last 45 minutes on the radio yesterday when I kind of wrapped up a few. How should I say this? Conversational rants. It's the new Bulldog style. Sometimes I'm going to elevate my voice, but I don't always have to raise my voice. But I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, when I try a case against a police officer for misconduct or a jailer for misconduct or for a doctor or hospital who did something that's considered malpractice or an employer that unfairly fires an employee, it's incumbent upon me to basically outline to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what should have happened. Now, in the political arena, it's easy, as we all know, and boy, is it easy with Barack Obama, to point out all the failings and all the faults of Barack Obama. But I want to tell you, it is equally easy to say, well, Bulldog, if you were president, what would you do? Because the president has asked that question a few times. It's easy to point out all the things that we're doing, but I don't hear anything from the other side pointing out what should be done. Really? Well, Mr. President, in case you're listening, I will point out a few things that should be done. Okay? First of all, tell your Justice Department to stay the hell out of Texas on this voter ID issue. Are you kidding me? And you also might tell your Justice Department to stay the hell out of New York. Probably nowhere is the issue of national security more sensitive, for obvious reasons, than Pearl Harbor and New York City. Would you agree? I think you would agree. So he ought to just stay the hell out. But, you go across the board of everything he does. The solutions are really easy. Keystone Pipeline, well, Mr. President, you shouldn't have lobbied Democrats in the Senate to block it again. You can't have it both ways. You can't act like you're wanting energy independence. And I thought of this too. All these people that are claiming, like Bill O'Reilly, and they're claiming that, well, there's plenty of fuel. We have plenty of production. We have plenty. You know what, folks? I've tried to search for an analogy that would say how silly that is. But all I can say is this. Think of all the things that you do that you have to do on a daily basis in your job. And you did them all the way up to a certain point, but then you didn't finish the job. Because that's what it's like. Is there anybody out there, for example, right now, let's say right now we have plenty of oil, but the issue right now is refineries. And we haven't had a new refinery built in this country forever. Let's think long term, folks. Is there anybody out there that doesn't think drilling in Anwar, drilling offshore, the shale oil, the Keystone Pipeline, natural gas development for cars, so forth and so on? Is there anybody out there that doesn't think that those policies now will keep our fuel costs down in the future? And it's not just the cost of the fuel, it's the independency of the fuel. That's what we need. So you can't sit there and say, well, the gas prices are down now, so let's not worry about oil exploration today. Can somebody please have some vision? And by the way, people say, well, Bulldog, that's what they're saying about green energy. We got to have some vision. Let the private sector do it. If some company comes up with some wonderful green energy, and by the way, you don't think that they're out there trying? You don't think there's a bunch of liberals, socialist, green energy types out there with their startup companies striving, getting investments for their companies? Hell yes, there is, because you know why? They know they can make a boatload of money. That's the incentive. How much money do you think a company can make if they come up with a longer lasting battery for a car? A bunch. That's what motivates them. Money. We don't need government taxpayer dollars in the game. Let the free market enterprise do it. Because there's always going to be entrepreneurs out there that says, man, if we can be the first to do X, Y, Z, we're going to be rich. If we can be the first to do A, B, C, we're going to have a monopoly on this market. And that is going on, and it will continue to go on. That's where we need to be. Tax reform. I mean, every issue, taxes, energy, the issue in Iran, the issue in Afghanistan, Iraq. The alternative, what Barack Obama's doing, is easy to find. I marvel at this, folks. I listened to the Washington Times on the way in here, and they had a long segment of what's going on in Syria. Now, we intervened in Egypt. We intervened in Iraq. We intervened in Afghanistan. We intervened in Libya. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, how could the Syrian people not expect us to intervene there? And look at the ridiculousness of this situation. We got Russia and China, our biggest lender and our hitchhiker to space, blocking UN resolutions to do something in Syria. Doesn't it suck that Barack Obama has weakened America to the point to where, well, we better not do anything if they're blocking it? If I was the President of the United States and intervention was our policy, I'd tell Russia and I'd tell good old China, say, hey, listen, folks, we're not messing with your sovereignty. We're not messing with your assets. We're not messing with your airspace, water space, land space. This is a human rights issue going on in Syria. We're not putting in ground troops, but we're going to drop a few bombs. We're going to drop a few bombs on Assad's head. You know, why wouldn't we? See, I oppose the intervention in Libya, Iraq, Egypt. I oppose intervention in all of them. But if your policy is going to be intervene, how do you leave the Syrian people out to dry? He left the Iranian people out to dry when they started to rebel in the streets. It's remarkable, beyond remarkable. And did you hear the interview the other day on the 60 Minutes from the former Israeli intelligence officer who basically says that, you know, Israel should not bomb Iran right now because when Iran does get the bomb, it's going to be America's problem, and then America will have to deal with it, so Israel's not going to have to deal with it. Pretty interesting perspective there. Weakness. There is nothing worse in a leader on any level than weakness, perceived or real. We have weak leadership in the White House. Very weak leadership. He just wants everybody. And by the way, we know he's attended 181 fundraisers, which is 3 a day. I'm assuming yesterday he did make his daily requirement of 3 somewhere, Mr. President. It's incredible. Lack of leadership.
I don't think he's eating at all those places, though, because he'd be as big as Bill Clinton, you know?
He smokes. You know how that keeps that weight off.
Yeah, like high metabolism. That could be it.
The old is it the nicotine, right?
I guess that's what it is.
The nicotine? Does the smoking suppress your appetite?
I believe so. I believe it does.
You know, when I took the diet medicine that I took from Horizon Weight Loss, I lost a lot of weight, but man, I hated what it did to those commercials that I did. I'd like to redo them because my mouth was so dry. It made my voice hoarse. This sterling radio voice was taken down a notch. When we return, Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160.
Remember, if you can't find a radio, use the TuneIn Radio app free on your iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android to hear Real Talk 1160 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now, let's get back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. TC, do we have a feel-good song for the ladies and gentlemen of the American jury? Yesterday, we got so busy we didn't play it, but I think everybody would like to end the show in a happy, upbeat mode. Remember, you can text 42828, 42828, and with the message Bulldog, text 42828, message Bulldog, and you will automatically be signed up to my email list. We're going to start posting daily blogs. I recorded one today. We're going to be issue-related primarily, although certain things in life will pop up, and we'll share those with you.
I did not run for office.
We did not run for office. Radio Superbity. Remember, I'd like to be your Facebook friend. You can, Eric Deters, public figure, Facebook. Also, Twitter is Bullall. In addition to that, you can email me at eric@ericdeters.com or 859-250-2527 for any Ohio legal matter. Feel-good song of the day. Love it. B.W. Stevenson. Redone by Brooks and Dunn.
I thought Ace was going to be the feel-good song.
That was feel-good, too. We're feeling good all over the place today. Maria.
I didn't get that second memo.
My secretary's Maria. And Maria is an offshoot of Mary, which is my wife's name. In the sky. Good harmony there, baby. Maria. B.W. Stevenson.
We ought to do a week of country feel-good.
You know what I was thinking? I'm glad you brought that up because you know what I was thinking?
What's that?
To add to the feel-goodness of our show, we could have a rock and country feel-good every day. I got enough material. Or do we just do country feel-good for the week?
I say we just do one feel-good song a day, one that's going to stick in your mind.
That's the whole idea of it. Yeah. All right, we'll do that. Tomorrow will be another country feel-good.
And then maybe do like a week of country, a week of rock, a week of R&B.
Rap.
Yeah.
I like that. Mix it up.
Yeah.
Week of classical.
And then we'll do a week of what they call the jack. We'll just play a mix of everything.
TC, you are a brilliant producer.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
We're ready for the national stage.
We are. Is the national stage ready for us?
No way. We're going to blow their minds. Rush will go, who's that guy named Bulldog? Glenn Beck will go, he does history without crying. Sean Hannity says, he does conservative with humor. Jon Stewart will say, my God, they found a conservative libertarian me. Stephen Colbert will say, I got nothing on dog.
He could be the president of the United States one day.
Yes.
He could
Maria, I love you so. I got the perfect secretary. She's subdued. She's loyal. She's trustworthy. She's quiet, but she's got that steely strength. Maria came, listen to this, Maria. Maria's family came from Poland via the Ukraine to Yonkers, New York. And she only found her way down here because her husband, who was, I think he was a New York police officer, died of liver cancer. And she met her present husband, who's from Northern Kentucky, when he was up there in New York working in on a construction job. So somehow she found here, and she becomes my secretary. And she typed, get this is a great anecdote about Maria. My Maria secretary, one of her jobs was typing all the Gotti. She typed the Gotti transcripts, like all the taped conversations, everything else.
Really?
She was a transcriptionist. And the Justice Department swore her to secrecy.
Oh,
she was not allowed. And to this day, ladies and gentlemen, Mary, to this day, she won't tell me nothing. I said, come on, Maria, tell me some stuff that you transcribed.
So these are like sealed records or something?
Top secret stuff during the Gotti stuff that she will not reveal to me.
Wouldn't you love to interview her?
But you know what, though? That just tells you. She doesn't tell that. She won't tell the secrets she knows about me.
Right.
Which are none. She has no secrets about me.
She is not a rat.
She's not a rat.
She's loyal.
Well, you know what? You can't find Marias in any more of these. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
She's been with me 15 years. People are shocked at that. Shocked.
Most are shocked after 15 minutes. 15 years?
I broke in a law clerk yesterday because I was in a bad mood and I yelled about something, and this kid, I like him. I said, now listen, I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the situation. He goes, don't worry about it. You're just like my dad. I'm down with it. See, you like that. People that don't like overreact, they go,
roll with the punches.
He raised his voice.
Yeah.
You got to have good people. You got to have good people.
You have thick skin. You know.
By the way, speaking of good people, we're looking to replace our videographer. If you're a Jacob, I forgot Jacob was in the room.
Yeah, he's still in the room.
Sorry. God, that was embarrassing. I forgot he was in the room.
Hey, there was something that you may have seen this. There's a Northern Kentucky Veterans Jobs Fair coming up at the end of the month. We're going to talk to one of the organizers of that coming up this week and going to interview him for Inside Northern Kentucky. Good job. You need to promote your show more often. Well, I think we need to promote stuff that's going on like that. We always talk about the jobs blocker. These are people, job creators. Job creators, Speaking of job creating, when I went out the studio yesterday to go get on the elevator, I smelled fresh paint coming from my new offices here in Cincinnati. What color? What color have we chosen? Off-white. Okay. Not pink. No. Off-white. Off-white. Have we looked at swatches for the carpet? Standard carpet, yes, swatches. They've chosen all that, typical office fare. But I'm really excited about it. April 1st, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I will be moving in. April Fool's Day, that's kind of funny. This is not an April Fool's Day joke, unless maybe the landlord goes, April Fools! I'm just kidding. We're just kidding. We're not going to lease this space to you. But what's going to be neat about it is I'm going to be able to walk out of this studio at 9 o'clock and walk down the hall and be in my law offices here at the studio. Now, those of you that are wondering, my Kentucky law office in Independence is going to remain open. All my personnel that can work there will still work there. Remember, I'm suspended till 38 more days, my Kentucky law license, but it's going fast. And then, of course, my Ohio license. I got to report, like Friday, I got to report that to Ohio, and then I got to challenge that. So I tell you right now, it's never ending. It's never ending with the Kentucky bar. But anyway, back to the good news. My Cincinnati law office will be open for business come April 1st. I'm going to have like 8 lawyers in there. So if you live in the Cincinnati area in Ohio,
like Delhi, Western Hills, and all those places, you're going to be able to zip. Or you work in downtown Cincinnati, you're working Ohio. Free parking. I love that. You know, these other places, you go to downtown Cincinnati, you got to pay for parking. You got to go into a parking garage. Right. Here, you'll be able to free parking, pull up, come into the Bulldog's law office, and have a productive legal meeting with me or one of my many members of my staff.
Good. Sit down in our lobby where our Starbucks facilities are. And I'm just kidding. We don't have Starbucks.
Yeah, you know, we need an eatery in this building.
That's right. We do. A commissary.
A commissary. Yeah. Maybe we will start that.
Yeah.
Maybe the commissary, the Bulldog commissary, the Real Talk commissary.
We can call it Dare Commissary.
Dare Commissary. The Green Water Commissary.
Yeah, there we go.
Get your bottle of green water at the Green Water Commissary. It'll be the first commissary, just like we're having our first bar after we get those millions of dollars from the city of Cincinnati.
Exactly.
To go down on the banks. God, we have so much going on. We got to start hiring staff.
We do. We
need staff.
Yeah.
If you would like to be a member of the Green Water staff, send a photograph and a resume to TC at his email address.
Or just send your resume on the back of a $20 bill.
We want to see what you look like to see if you're compatible with the Green Water image.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you might be a little too yellow for Green Water.
That's true.
You know, we need Green Water look.
And you have to be
special look.
You have to look healthy too.
Healthy. Because if you drink a lot of green water, you're not going to be healthy. So,
you want to get that before picture.
Oh, that is fun.
And then we'll send you to Dr. Kurtzman afterwards.
Well, folks, today, is a big vote down in Alabama and Mississippi and American Samoa. And tomorrow we'll report what's going on. And ladies and gentlemen, American jury, I'll be honest, I hope Romney wins them both. Newt's kind of admitted he'll be gone if that happens. I'd like Newt to be gone. I love Newt, but I just wish he'd be gone. Every dog has their day. I hope tomorrow is yours on Real Talk 1160.